8 p.m. CST, live on Facebook and YouTube. Join us as we
Welcome, everyone. This is the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Alinko. You're not used to seeing us early mornings on Thursdays, but this is a special edition because we're going to be talking to Ana Valencia, who is running for the candidate of who's running for the Secretary of State. She is a candidate. She's a candidate running for the Secretary of State. Of course, she's the city clerk of Chicago, and will be going straight into the discussion this morning. We encourage that you share the feed if you just came on. Before that, we will take this short, quick break. When we come back, we'll be engaging Ana Valencia on the Progressive Mind Show. We shall be right back. Okay, we are back to the show. Apologize for that feedback. Well, let's go straight to Ana Valencia. I'm trying to make sure that, okay, so everything is good. I was getting some feedback, but we would go straight to the our guest for this morning. Ana Valencia, you're welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Thank you for having me this morning.
We are glad to have you. So, a little background about who this beautiful lady is, and then we would go into why she's here on the program. This morning. So Ana Valencia is a proven leader who understands the challenges many Illinois families face. She grew up downstate in Granite City in a proud working class union family. Ana's dad was a union painter, and her mom worked for a non for profit helping underprivileged, high school students after school. Now she has a very long accolade, so we'll just go into a little bit of it. Ana Valencia happens to be the only child that had a college that graduated at the time. She's the only daughter or the only child that went to college at University of Illinois, and graduated with a degree in international studies. If I'm wrong, please correct me on that. I am having my screen is freezing, but she, she graduated from international studies. If I'm am I correct on that? International studies. That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ana Valencia, you had a very, I would say, you had a family unit as a young lady growing up in the city of, I mean, in the state of Illinois. Now, tell us some of the values, some of the family values that was instilled in you as a young lady growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Granite City. It's in the metro east of Illinois, like right across the river from St. Louis. And I had a wonderful childhood. I grew up to I'm very privileged to have a dad who worked really hard. I mean, he's been painting our stripes on our street and has been a union painter for over 30 years. He actually just retired a few weeks ago. And he is a kidney transplant survivor. And so he actually was able to get a new kidney 3 years ago. So organ donation is something I'm going to be very vocal about as Secretary of State here in Illinois, that I know Secretary White has been as well.
Mm.
And he used to, when he was on dialysis before he got the kidney, he would wake up every day at 6 a.m., do his dialysis from home, then go to work at 7, come back at noon, do it again, go back to work, come back at 3 when he got off, do it again, and again at 8 o'clock, and then go into work the next day and work a manual labor job. I mean, his never skipped a day of work, never complained. His hard work ethic really instilled into his children.
Mm.
And my mom worked at a nonprofit with teen reach students and after school programs, and really poured into students that could have gone either way. And they were very active in their church community. They were very active civically. I remember walking door to door with my dad when someone was running for mayor in Granite City that he believed in. We were very active in our culture, and the Mexican Honorary Commission that was established by my great grandfather and my uncles to have a place where a lot of Mexican immigrants could be in our community, to have fiestas and have celebrations and carry on our cultures. And so I really got the instilled in my value system of always giving back. Even if you don't have a lot to give, you can certainly give back. Always show up for community, and always remember where you've come from. And that's something that I've instilled as I'm now even city clerk of Chicago and have my own daughter,
Mm.
who I want to make sure I bring her up in those same values.
Brilliant. You talk fondly about family, which is very, very important, and how it played a role in your life. You, of course, you're married, and you just mentioned your beautiful daughter. If you're not working, what are some of the things that Anna Valencia would engage in with her family in this beautiful city?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm working all the time. You know, I'm the city clerk of Chicago still currently. I've been there for 5 years. So I'm a citywide elected here in Chicago. And so that and running for statewide office is definitely challenging, but I do really try to integrate my life where I can. And I remember last Friday when it was like beautiful outside and I just finished a day of campaigning a little early, we took my daughter to get ice cream. We
Mm.
went to the West Loop to the Cone. It's a local store, and we got ice cream
Mhm.
and just enjoyed walking around the streets. And hopefully the weather stays nice. I know the rain has come this week, but we really try to have some family time. We were traveling in Peoria over the summer, and they have an amazing zoo in Peoria. If you're
Mm.
ever down in central Illinois, where you can actually feed the giraffes. And so my daughter and I were feeding the giraffes at the zoo in Peoria.
Beautiful. Beautiful. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Because a lot of times we think of our politicians and we don't know this side of their lives, right? We think it's all politics and it's all serious business. So really, I appreciate that. You are you a Colombian descent based
I'm
on?
Mexican, so my Mexican American. Yeah,
Okay.
my great-grandmother came from Mexico, and actually her sons ended up in Colorado and then to St. Louis because there were opportunities in the stockyards and the steel factories, and my grandfather was a steel worker.
Okay.
So about an 8th grade education, and then, he married a woman who was actually, Czechoslovakian, born
Oh,
on the way here
wow.
to America, and they had about an 8th grade education, couldn't have children, so they adopted my father from Mexico and 2 others from Mexico, and, yes, so that's my descendants.
Awesome. Beautiful. And the assumption is that all Mexicans love tacos. Is that true for you?
No. I mean, I love it, but I love all kinds of foods.
Okay.
My husband's also Palestinian and Jamaican, and so my daughter is really multicultural.
Wow.
So we love all kinds of different foods, and that's the beauty also living in Chicago. You have all different neighborhoods and walks of life, which the diversity of our state as well is amazing. And I'm very lucky we have that opportunity to see all the different cultures.
You just mentioned something very interesting. You said your husband, his family is both Palestinian and Jamaican.
Yes.
You just told us how very diverse your family is.
Yes.
And you also spoke about how diverse the city of Chicago is and the state of Illinois. Now, how are you? Can you tell our audience or the people of Illinois how you intend to bring this into the office of the Secretary of State?
Absolutely. Well, I really believe that my perspective gives me an opportunity to look at our access to services.
Mm,
So, as the city clerk of Chicago, I also wanted to make sure that we were putting a lot of services online for
mm,
people to get to, especially during the pandemic. But I wanted to meet people in their communities. And we started this program called the Mobile City Hall, which is a program through the city clerk's office. And we actually show up in neighborhoods, southwest side, north side, on Saturdays and evening hours. We just kicked off in North Lawndale on the west side of Chicago on a Saturday in Douglas Park, where families didn't have to take a day off work or find childcare or find transportation to get services that they needed.
mm,
And so I think that's really important that we have, leaders who have those perspectives of like, we need more flexible hours for our families.
mm,
I also created as city clerk the very first ever municipal ID card that is a government ID, a library card, a CTA transit card, and a prescription discount card.
mm,
It's the first of its kind here in Illinois.
mm.
And what I love it so much is it's been able to help so many immigrant families
Yeah,
have access to identification when they first arrive. They may not be able to get a state ID right away or have the documentation that they need, but
yeah.
you need an identification to get into housing, find employment, banking, uh, all of these things. And so I worked on that, and I want to take that same energy into the Secretary of State's office to make sure we're making government accessible for people.
That
And
is very
access as well. Language access is very important too, and we need to make sure that we're ensuring we do that as well.
that initiative that you took in the city, in the office of the clerk of the city of Chicago, the city court initiative.
The key. Mhm.
Was that the first time in the history of Chicago? Because that's what I heard.
Yes, first time we've ever created it, the municipal ID card,
Mm,
and we co-created it with people from different communities and foundations, and nonprofits that came to us and wanted us to create this for their communities.
mm.
And so they co-collaborated with us and helped us design the card, how it would work, what documents you need, all these things. So I would love to explore something like this at the Secretary of State's office as well.
That would be a game changer.
Yes, and I think the other thing on language access,
Yeah.
we started using this program called Language Line.
Mm,
So if you come into to get your city key or get a services, we can actually call this language line. It's a service that then can translate between our customer and ourselves so that we are able to serve their needs in a much better way. And then we also try to find the top 5 languages spoken in Chicago, making sure we have those language access materials printed for those top 5 languages. But I think that's the type of services we need to do at the Secretary of State's office and beyond to ensure that everyone feels accessible to their government in Illinois.
Thank you. Before I did like to ask you, what is the number one challenge that you have noticed this the Secretary of State is, facing at this moment that you would want to fix? But before that, uh, with the city, for folks who are just seeing it the first time within the African diaspora community, the city card, the city ID card, right, is available for every immigrant, regardless of your status. And how do you access this? You walk to the office, you
Sure.
apply online, or yeah.
Yes. So if you have to live in the city of Chicago. So you have to be a resident in the city of Chicago. So you have to prove residency. It could be a bank bill or utility bill or something like that.
Mhm.
And then you just have to bring something identification, but it could be a passport. It could be a consulate card. It could be lots of things. It's free. You can go to my website at shycityclerk.com. That's CHI city, CITY clerk, CLERK.com. And you can look for it's called the City Key Municipal ID Program. And you can look for our calendar and where we're at. And if it's an open public event, you just show up. No appointment needed. Just come and we print them the same day in about 10 minutes.
And you can walk in any day to apply for this card.
Yes. And there's a phone number and an email for you to reach out to us as well. But I would say make sure you go to one of the mobile prints. We'll actually be at mobile city halls throughout the city of Chicago. We have 22 of them all through June, July, and August. You can go and just walk up, no appointment needed. And yes, this is a city key. This municipal ID card is good regardless of your housing status, whether you're undocumented, whether you're a reentry community or homeless, does not matter. you can get
Wow.
this card.
And can you work with this card in some types of jobs?
Yes, you can use it for employment. You can
Wow.
use it at some of our banking. We have about 10 different banking partners in the city of Chicago that work with it, like Second Federal Savings, and some other places, PNC, that will accept it for banking. You can use it to get access to housing. So you can use it for many different ways.
How has this program, what has been the response so far with this program?
Amazing. We've had, when we first launched the program in 2018, we had 400 people lined up in Inglewood to get the City Key card.
Mm.
Then, unfortunately, the pandemic came. We had to kind of slow down our in-person prints for a bit, but now we're back out there, and we're trying to get these cards into as many people that need them and want them. So it's been wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. In your bio, also, I noticed that you have infused technology, which is the way forward now in your office and your operations, and you're being efficient with it. How do you intend incorporating this if you become or when you become the Secretary of State?
Well, modernization is super important, and I'm so proud to have Secretary of State Jesse White's endorsement.
Mm.
Secretary White became the first African American 24 years ago to serve as Secretary of State. And with everything, when everything goes well, and when we win, I should say, I will be the first woman Secretary of State in our history, which I think is incredibly important to have representation. And one of the things that I know Secretary White has worked on is reforming the office and also modernizing it. But then the pandemic hit, and we have to modernize it much more faster to get it to the 21st century than we had to before.
Mm.
So one of the things I want to do is when I first come in is I want to overhaul the technology infrastructure and create a one-stop shop online portal that also can be a mobile app where you can literally take your vision test online, pay online, renew your driver's license, register your vehicle, set up a business, all in a one-stop shop.
Mm.
That's going to be a prime focus. I also want to modernize our library system. I am the chief librarian as your Secretary of State. And I've been traveling across the state, and Rockford, Illinois has an amazing makers lab that anyone can go into this makers lab and use the 3D printers for free. And they're able to, test out a product if they're an entrepreneur.
Mm.
In Champaign County down in central Illinois, they have a program for adults to learn how to software code. So you
Mm.
can get how to software code and those skills for free. And they have it for youth as well. And even during the pandemic, with some libraries shut down, I heard that families were going into the parking lot to download the Wi-Fi to get access to these e-learning materials for their kids, e-learning of school. So I want to make sure that every library, all 5,000 in Illinois, has strong broadband access, and see if we can make them Wi-Fi beacons where they can actually be a center of Wi-Fi that surrounding communities could tap into for free.
Wow. Brilliant. You mentioned, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And if you're listening, this is a special edition for City Clerk of Chicago, Anna Valencia. Is it Valencia or Valencia?
Valencia, like the orange.
Awesome. Valencia, who is running for Secretary of State. She's sharing her story with regards to her job with the city and also what she intends to do at the Secretary of State when or if she becomes when or if she becomes the Secretary of State.
And I'm saying when we're speaking
Okay.
into existence.
Exactly. Okay, so I'll use the words when she becomes Secretary of State. Now, you mentioned that you've gotten the endorsement from Jesse White, the current Secretary of State, who has done a phenomenal job. Everybody knows that. Who else have you gotten endorsements from?
Well, I'm very proud to have endorsements from Governor Pritzker, the Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, Senator Dick Durbin, Senator Tammy Duckworth, Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, and many others. I'm also proud to have some great support from folks like labor, families that I grew up in. So firefighters, the Illinois Nurses Association, bricklayers, painters, insulators, many folks in labor have backed me, and national organizations like Emily's List or Planned Parenthood of Illinois and the Latino Victory Fund, which is a national organization that helps promote different Latinas running for office. And I will be the 5th Latina statewide elected in our country, which is crazy.
Wow. Wow, this is big. Have you done any work or intend to do some work when it comes to your campaign or even working in the future with the African community?
Yeah, so when I was at our city clerk, when we were building out the City Key program, I
Yeah.
worked with African Organization United,
Mm,
and they were a partner that would host different City Key functions.
yeah.
They were also at the table when we were trying to figure out what documentations we needed. We didn't want to put barriers in front of people. We wanted to accept many different forms of documentation
Mm,
to prove identity and to prove residency, so that people weren't being left behind when it comes to identification. And I certainly would be more than happy to continue to work with African organizations as we, build out our platform. I want to do a civics core, a youth paid jobs program that would help our youth, no matter where you come from, to get their foot into government and understand how it works and learn how to register voters in their communities
mm,
and understand what it's like to be civically engaged, because there's so much potential out there, but not often tapped into because they don't have the right connections, if you will. They
mm,
weren't born in privilege or
mm.
have, someone to make an introduction for them.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important we reach out to folks in the African organizations and make sure that we can find those young people of talent and get them engaged in our civics core too.
Mm, that is brilliant. And how has the campaign been going so far for you? I'm sorry, I think my screen is. How has the campaign been going so far?
Well, we're 5 weeks away. So
Yes.
it's been a long whirlwind of the last year plus months, but
Mm,
we're almost there. So we have a forum today with all the candidates. We
mhm.
are up on TV. You might have seen our TV ad, but we're up on TV.
Okay.
Again, I'm the only woman in this race, and I will be the first woman Secretary of State in the history of Illinois. And so people are voting now. So please consider voting for me. There's early voting that's happened already outside Chicago. Chicago early voting starts on, I believe it's supposed to be May 26th. I think they have pushed it back, but you can do vote by mail, and election day is June 28th. So
Mm.
please make plans to vote on June 28th or before and consider us. And you can go to voteannavalencia.com, which is our website, to find out more about me.
What has been the most challenging? I would say, what has been your main challenge in this campaign run for Secretary of State?
Wow, how much time do we have? I think for women and women of color to run for office, there's a lot of barriers and obstacles. One, it's raising money. I think that we need public finance to
Mm,
happen in this country, because people who come and grow up like myself, who don't come from wealthy families,
mm,
we can't buy an election for ourselves, right?
mm,
I believe that elections should be about merit and
mm,
not just about how much money you have,
mm,
but what you've done for the community, how you've shown up, your record of results.
mm,
And unfortunately, it's not like that all the time. So it's been challenging to raise the money, but we've raised over $1.5 million, which is a big feat for a woman of color running for office. And I also think that sometimes we're held to a different standard. A lot of people don't understand how in the media how to write about women, or understand even our own party, how to support women candidates. So I definitely think breaking a barrier is not ever easy.
mm.
If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And there is resistance that comes, but I've just kept my head held high. I have an amazing group of people who've endorsed me, who are cheering me on, who are lifting me up in spirit. And so I'm very excited about the next 5 weeks and winning this election.
Awesome. You mentioned spirit, and I want to ask this question: what keeps you going? Of course, it's not. Of course, it's a daunting task, but what motivates you? What gives you the energy to keep going every day?
Well, I am a woman of faith,
Mm,
and that is something that definitely keeps me going, is my faith.
mm,
And it is something that, you can't always be seen, but I know, like, what is my purpose in life. And my purpose has been called to serve and to heal the cynical and the broken, and to lift up people who often are unseen in our communities. And I really find that is in public service. And so again, like, this is not about me. It's not about my name being on the door or my ego. This is about what I represent.
mm,
It's what I represent to young girls across the state who see that they can too also run for one of the highest offices here in Illinois. And to my daughter, it represents, like, what may seem impossible actually possible. So
wow.
this win is for all of us, not for me. And I really am praying that I can break this barrier for so many to come behind me, and we can start praising the second and fifth and 50th woman to hold this seat.
Brilliant. It's We have about 4 minutes to wrap up this conversation. If you're watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Of course, we're live on Twitter as well. We encourage that you share the feed so that Anna's message can get to everybody in the state of Illinois. This is a historic race for her, and so this your sharing will be a part of helping her campaign or support to her campaign and her being the historic personality that she's trying to achieve for all women, for all diverse oriented folks in the state of Illinois and for the state of Illinois in general. So please do so at this moment. Anna, how has your family been in support of your campaign and everything you have stood for and have been working for so far?
Well, my family's been amazing. So my parents still live in downstate. They still live in Granite City. They were actually stomping in Macoupin County for me last night.
Wow.
They got 1,500 signatures for us to get on the ballot. We only needed about 6,000.
Hmm.
Our friends and supporters across the state got 20,000 signatures for us in the dead of winter, January, February, and March.
Wow.
That is a testament to what is happening on the ground and the excitement and momentum we're getting.
Hmm.
Also, my daughter, who's 2, I took her to her first rally. And unfortunately, the circumstances are sad. You know, we saw the leaked opinion about Roe v. Wade and taking that back. And my daughter may not have the same basic human rights to make healthcare decisions on her own that we've had for 50 years. But she and I went out to the rally here in Chicago, and we used our voices and our platform to speak for so many other young women coming behind us that this is going to impact. And so my family has been with me in supporting both my parents and my siblings and even my daughter, you know, making campaign stops with us because we're going to campaign hard. And we are going to show, like I said, little girls and young women what is possible if you just work hard, keep the faith, and people like the amazing mentors and folks that I've had in my life that just have opened doors of opportunity for me. And I've been able to walk in and make something out of it.
Brilliant. How optimistic are you in this race?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I think that the voters are looking for the next generation of leaders. I think Secretary White has endorsed us because he knows that we have the integrity and the character and the heart for people.
Mm.
You really have to have a heart for people to serve. Otherwise, you're going to be drained and depleted. I get energy from meeting people and hearing their stories and hearing their hopes and dreams and wanting to help make that happen for so many. And so that's what keeps me going and having optimism. And even as we saw what has happened in Texas and the sadness of like what is the state of affairs and what is happening in our country, we have to keep hope. Hope is the only thing that's going to keep us driving to be a change that my generation and generations younger than us can help be that change that we desperately need to have and to do the right thing. And I hope that our leaders in DC take those bold political moves, and who cares if they lose their elections, do the right thing, because so many of us are counting on you for our own safety, for the safety of our children and the safety of our neighbors. So that's why I keep running it. Again, it's not about me, it's about all of us and what we represent. And I have hope that we can build that trust between community and government again. That's so dearly needed.
Absolutely. And mentioning the issue that went on 2 days ago in maybe 2 or 3 days ago in Texas, that we, you know, may their souls rest in peace. Is just a tragedy, national tragedy. And like you said, we hope that the people in power will do the right thing for the safety of everybody in this country. Thank you so much for sharing. We are about time, but my last question that I wanted to ask you is, I think okay. Now, I am assuming you're a Bulls fan.
You're assuming I'm a Bulls fan? Yes, I'm a fan of all Chicago teams. Let's just
How about soccer?
Yes, the Chicago Stars and the Chicago Reds too is the girls' team, the women's team, right?
Yes. So essentially, you were a sports fanatic, or you're a sports person, and you love soccer, and you love the Bulls, and you love basketball.
Yes, I would say yes. I don't watch them, although you know I was at the game on Chicago Sky on Tuesday. Have you seen the Chicago Sky game?
No, I haven't.
Okay, these women are phenomenal.
Okay.
Phenomenal. You got to go. You got to go watch and support them.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have listened to Anna Valencia. She's running for the Secretary of State. When she said that she has a heart for people. I personally believe it because this is the lady that initiated the Chicago City Card. If it's that's the right word, that's the right word, right? The name, Chicago
Not
City
City
Card.
Key, the City
Oh,
Key.
sorry, City Key, City Key, because 3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago, a friend of mine was telling me about it and how it's
Mm.
helping people. I'm like, wow, City Key. For someone to have the heart to introduce that type of thing for immigrants and for folks who may be struggling to get help, if she's running for the Secretary of State, you can imagine the heart that she's bringing. So when she said you have the heart for people, it kind of resonated with me because I have heard about this before even knowing you or seeing you in person. So thank you so much for everything you've done for the city of Chicago and for what you intend to do for the state of Illinois.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the last thing, how do you want people to help you support? Where can they find you?
Please go to voteannavalencia.com. You can sign up to volunteer. You can donate your coffee money. We are still raising money to keep our TV ad going, keeping our message getting out there. So donate, sign up to volunteer, and vote. Please, please vote for us. You can go and go to our website and we'll help guide you to where your early voting location might be. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This is true. This is true. You must have the heart for people to do the right thing. Rebecca Morley, thank you for chiming in. Well, that would be it for this special episode for the candidate running for Secretary of State, Ana Valencia, who was the clerk for the city of Chicago. We hope that you took a thing or you took a thing or two from this interview or this episode. And please go ahead and share her message so you can support her in this race. Ana Valencia, we are pleased to have you once again, and we look forward to engaging you in the near future. We wish you all the best and success in this race. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.